think about that could situation. So you wanted to talk about, you wanted to tell me that you did not, it was not possible. You want to tell me that it was not possible for you to do your homework yesterday, right? Or actually, no, you didn't want to say that. You wanted to say that it was possible, but that you did something else, right? That's what you wanted to say, right? So what you said is, I could do my homework, but I watched football instead, right? This was your idea. This was your idea. Okay, this is wrong though. Okay, this is not right, right? Because no, it's not right, right? Because like I told you, this could, if we use could, this could by itself here to talk about a possibility, it has to be, this could for a possibility by itself has to be in the present or future. So you could say, like, I could do my homework tonight. This is wrong here. This one is wrong. We're going to fix it. But this one would be right. This next one would be right. You could say, I could do my homework tonight, but I think that I'm going to watch football again. You see the difference? This is about the future here. This could here is a possibility in the future. This is a possibility in the future. So we can use could by itself. But if we want to do this about the past, we have to do something special. Because look, could about possibility, this is essentially first form, right? I know it's second form of can, but this is present meaning. This is not second form because this is for the present, right? So this is essentially like a first form here. This could is a first form. This could, when it's about a possibility, is a first form, essentially. All right, you can think deeply about it and say that it isn't, but practically speaking, it is a first form. So we have to do something special. We have no second form. What's the second form of could? Nothing, right? And this is true of other verbs, like must. What's the second form of must? No. That's going the opposite direction, kind of. All right. So there's no second form. All right. Might. What's the second form of might? Nothing. What's the second form of should? There's no second form of should. Okay. Most of these there's no second form. Would also is another one. So we can use would in the present tense to talk about hypothetical situations, conditional hypothetical situations, and it's actually hypothetical conditional situations. So, but there's no second form. So how do we talk about the same thing in the past? So let's look at a few other sentences. Like if I say, you should study, how can I say you something 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 that way you wouldn't well, I have to do it here. So let me do this differently. So okay, so let's say you should study. All right, this is one moment in time, and then he doesn't study, and then he fails, and now we want to tell them that you failed, and what they, what I can't. I'm trying to tell you without using that form itself. You failed, and we want to tell them that it was better in the past if they studied, right? Okay, so how do we do that, right? We need to take this should and we need to put it in the past, right? Just like we needed to take this could and we need to put it in the past. You said I could do my home. So like yesterday you could say I could do my homework. Could do that second sentence there. I could do my homework. but I'm going to watch the game, the match, let's say. I'm going to watch the match. Okay, so then you're not ready for lesson, let's just say. Then you're not ready for the lesson. And because you're not, well, actually, this is a different situation. Okay, we just want to talk about this in the past now. It just didn't happen. All right, so we want to take that could and change that to the past. Now we just want to talk about that possibility. Okay, so the basic idea is we have all of these verbs and there's no second form. Okay, so the basic thing to understand is we have all of these verbs only can and will have second forms. Of modal verbs, I mean. Of modal verbs only can and will have second forms. So for all other verbs, if we want to put it in the past, including when we use the second forms of these, could and would are second forms of can and will, but these are also used as first forms. So we need second forms for these also. So we need second forms. So what do? So we have all these ones without second forms. We have could, we have would, we have should, we have may, might, must. That's it, I guess. Right. So all these ones don't have second forms, but we do want to put them in the past. So what do we do? So what we do is we do modal plus perfect. We do modal plus perfect. So if we look at these examples up here, if we talk about studying, we say, you failed, you should have studied. So perfect, of course, is have plus third form of the verb. These are past modals. This is how we take all these modal verbs that don't have second forms and we put them in second form. Yeah, I mean, right, it's present perfect. It's kind of a different question. We're just adding the perfect meaning in there. There's no way that it could be past because it starts with a modal verb and it's irrelevant. Past perfect is only relevant if you don't have a modal verb there in the first place. Okay, so anyway, whatever. Present perfect form, yeah, essentially. Have plus third form. But it's not because he could have, we're not saying he could has, we say he could have. So it's kind of irrelevant, present perfect, past perfect. But anyway, whatever. If it's easier, it's have plus third form. It's always have plus third form. Okay, generic perfect, always have plus third form after the modal verb. Okay, if you talk about could, if you want to talk about the possibility, I could have done my homework, but I watched the game instead. I could have done my homework, but I wanted to relax and watch the game. Okay, it's pretty easy, right? It's not really complicated here. We just want to if we want to put these verbs in the past, we just use the perfect afterwards. So let me give you some examples. I'll give you some in the present and you change it to the past, okay? So let's do it with some of these other ones. So it might rain today. Let's say it might rain. Okay, so now let's say it didn't rain. And so we say we were lucky. Let's say we had a picnic or something. We were lucky And now what should you say? The same idea. It might, but now this might is in the past. This might, by the way, remember, it's about a possibility. So what should you say here? It might what? We were lucky. It might what? But it didn't. And we had a nice picnic. We had a nice picnic. Okay, so what do we say here? It might what? To change this might rain to the past, what should you say? Yep, that's right. It might have rained. You see? So we're saying that it was possible in the past that it would rain, but it didn't. It might have rained. It was possible that it rained in the past. It doesn't matter if it did or it didn't. We're just saying it was possible in the past that it would rain. In this case, we were lucky. That's the only reason it matters. Okay. What else? Okay, must. Remember we use must for deductions, right? So let's say, um, okay, he is late. He must be in traffic. Okay, remember Sherlock Holmes? So we are uh, we're making a deduction. We're taking this information that he's late. We're taking other things that we know about him. Maybe he's not usually late. Maybe there's a lot of traffic in the route that we know that he's coming on. We know a few things, and we can use that information to come to some conclusion, and we make a deduction. Remember, right? Okay. So he must be in traffic. All right. Now, let's talk. Maybe it's later. It's the next day, for example. Okay, he was late, but we didn't ask him. Let's say we didn't ask him. We don't know for sure still, but we're still thinking about it. So we will say he was late. He what? Finish it. What should we say after that? Yes, good. He must have been in traffic. No, because it's uncountable. It's an idea, phenomenon in traffic. No, 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 don't. Okay, we can just talk about the idea. We don't have to talk about specific traffic. All right, so maybe one more of these. We've done all the interesting ones. The interesting ones are could, should, must, might. When I read books, no, you're wrong. It's very important for speech. It's very important for speech. Yeah, because no, for speaking, for speaking, it's very important because you want to express these ideas, and it's very confusing if you don't use the right form here. It's very important to understand and to use correctly for speech. You just never have seen it before, probably, right? But that doesn't make any difference. This is very important. So no, you use it. You use it soon. You use it soon. It won't be. It's not that hard actually. This one's not that hard. It's just you just want to just have this idea of the modal verb. Like if you want to talk about any possibility in the past, all right? So just make this one. Um, let's see. Okay, okay, this is an example that we see from the book a lot. So uh, one person says, I saw you at the party uh, last weekend. Okay, and then that's impossible though, because you were in a different city. So let's put some information here. You were in a different city, and you want to tell them that it was not possible for them to see you at that party for that reason. And that's really very realistic kind of situation, that you want to tell somebody that something was not possible in the past. This is an example. So what do you need to say? You couldn't, what, finish that. You couldn't, and then because I was in Miami or something. Okay, so what goes here? You couldn't, what? Verb here is see, right? Right. You couldn't have seen me at that party. You couldn't see me because I was in Miami. So we're saying that something in the past was not possible. It's pretty often that we need to say things like that. Um, also with must, I'll use that a lot. We'll make a deduction about something in the past. Anytime we want to make a deduction about something in the past, if it's a positive deduction, if it's negative, we could also say can't have. So let's do that one with can't. Remember, we also use can't for negative deductions, right? So if we see that restaurant is empty, it can't be good, right? Do you remember that? I told you that, right? But we can make negative deductions with can't, right? So let's say we're talking about, let's say you're there, right? And you decided not to go there, right? So now you're talking about that. It's the next day or a few days later, whatever, and you're talking about that situation, all right? And so you're saying that restaurant was empty, and you want to talk about the deduction about that situation, but in the past now. So it can't, now finish it. Yep, can't have been good. So I think that's pretty common thing too. You want to you want to make a deduction about some past situation. And so to do that, you need to use this can't here because it's negative. You could also say must not. It's also possible. But you can use can't because it's negative. And uh, and then you want to use that perfect afterwards. Right. Positive deduction, you can use must or must not. Okay. So sorry, what did I say? Yeah, positive or negative deductions. You can use must. You can use must or must not. But can't you can use only for negative deductions. if it's a deduction at all. Okay, you can also use this for prohibition, like you have an obligation not to do something. You can't drive faster than 130 kilometers per hour, for example. Um, you can't steal from, you can't rob banks, for example. All right, so this is negative obligation not to do something. You can use it for that. You can also use it for just the ability and negative ability. All right, but so there are two ways to make negative deductions. One is with must not, and another one is cannot. Okay. Anyway, the point here is about this past modal form. All right, it's not that hard. There'll be some exercises with that. You'll get practice with that. It should be easier to do. Let's do maybe one more example. So, what other words could we use? We'll see with would, with conditionals. We'll see with would. It's a little bit, that'll be a little bit too complicated right now. May, okay. So it's may be a good idea to go over there, because there's because the guy looks like he's a terrorist and he's gonna blow us up with his bomb or something. All right, so it may be a good idea over there to go over there. Well, that wouldn't fit in this scenario. He wouldn't be around to tell the tale, right? So let's just put that in the past, okay, without any other details. It may be a good idea to go over there. So let's say, well, okay, I'll give you some details. You don't go over there. Something bad happens. Or, I don't know, something not as good as you want. And so you think, well, then it was better if you did go over there. So put this just put this may be a good idea in the past now. Do that. It may gone. No, the verb is be. Yeah, it may have been a good idea. Oh, right. Happened. May have been a good idea. Because this is a possibility. And there's a possibility in the past. It's possible. So let's say this in other words. It's possible that it's a good idea over there to go over there. And in this one, it's possible that it was a good idea to go over there. Right. Same meaning. Okay. So, well, this is in the past, and this one is now. It may be a good idea. This. Oh yeah, between that, it was a good. It was possible. Okay, it's not. It was a good idea. It's not. It's possible. It's just it was. That's 100%. It may. That's just. It was possible that it was a good idea. Yeah. If you say it's possible that it was a good idea, now that that's the same because you have this word possible in there. Okay. Okay. So.